Hey everyone, I am here to give a snapshot of my life and story as being an elder candidate, and as the church finishes that process and votes in a couple weeks. I just wanted to provide just a quick background story of who I am and what my family is about. So, my wife Sarah and I are originally from Columbus. I'm from Worthington, and growing up, thankfully, I'm from a wonderful family. My parents are very loving and generous and caring, and but as far as a faith background, that was really non-existent. Even though we had some sort of experience growing up in the Catholic Church, my idea of God was pretty limited. I was pretty indifferent to things like religion or faith or spirituality. I was really bored, honestly, even thinking about it, and so my perception of God really was God kept this cosmic scoreboard, and he was really old and irrelevant. And on one side of the scoreboard was good, and on the other side of the scoreboard was the section of bad. And God would kind of mysteriously tally up our good deeds and bad deeds, and hopefully at the end of my life, I would be, in his good graces, have some favor from him for whatever reason. That perception of God would shift dramatically when I was in ninth grade, and I grew up with a twin brother and an older sister. And so one day after practice, my brother and I were being picked up by my dad. My dad was also a football coach, and so we were backing out of the parking lot, and an older person, an older student and teammate named Jim, he was a senior, crashed into my dad. Now, it wasn't super serious. It was a fender bender, but Jim was his name, and he ended up becoming a missionary to Algeria, actually. And so he knew the Lord, loved the Lord, and he was spiritually mature, even as a senior. And so in an instance where he got out and apologized, of course, for crashing his car into my dad's car, offered to pay, my dad graciously just refused. But he used the opportunity to say, well, let me pay for my brother, Eric and Todd, to go to this camp. And so we ended up on that camp trip. We both met Jesus on that camp trip. It was a Young Life camp, ministry to adolescents. And it began this process for me. My brother and I like to say that we were born together and born again together. And it started this process of following Christ together, but also we had this group of friends, and we really grew up in our faith together. And not only that, but we began to bring people with us towards Christ. And that theme continued when I got involved in campus ministry in college and leadership positions there. It was this concept of, not being a holy huddle, not looking at each other in an insular way, not creating this, spiritual greenhouse effect. It was linking arms together but facing outwards towards others. And you see that over and over in the Gospels with the way Jesus did things. I knew I was called into full-time ministry, and so through that process, I began to apply the same principles of this mission-based fellowship, this mission-based community, linking arms with people, being on a team of like-minded people, impacting people with the gospel together, looking outwards towards others, when I went on staff with Young Life. And so I spent 5 years as an area director in Connecticut, and then I spent 8 years when I moved back here as the area director for Young Life in Licking County as well. Now, I left Young Life staff. I left full-time ministry a year ago, and I'm extremely thankful for everything that God did through that process, and really proud of the way that God used me and how I served as hard as I could there, not perfectly, but faithfully. However, the past year I've been in a secular nonprofit role. I won't get into the details of what I'm doing with something called the Legacy Project right now, but a year ago, I really didn't know how I would be serving the Lord, at least not intentionally, not in any type of intentional way. And a few months after I had left full-time ministry, I was nominated in this church where Sarah and I have been attending for the past 9 years. I was nominated to go through elder training. And so I was really humbled, but also I was really excited. It was an answer to prayer for me. And the process, you understand my background in full-time ministry as well as just my educational background and through seminary, I've taken classes, on the Gospels. I've studied church history, studied systematic theology, studied Genesis, Acts, and have received professional training in these things. And the elder training process is every bit as good as and useful and practical as a lot of those courses that I've taken. So the process has really affirmed where God wants me and where He has me right now. So in the event that I am able to serve as an elder of the Granville Chapel, I'd be honored and humbled, but really also excited as well. So that's a little bit of my story, and thank you guys so much for listening. Last thing I'll mention is, if you want to get to know me a little bit more, I know I don't know everyone in the church extremely well, but feel free to reach out. My information is on the bulletin. Thanks so much.